Let me say something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. Dating apps are not the problem. You are. Now, before you click off, hear me out. Because that's not an insult. That's actually the most empowering thing I'm going to say to you today. Because if the app was the problem, there'd be nothing you could do about it. But if you are the problem, and I mean that in the most loving way possible, then that means you have all the power. That means you can fix it. That means you can walk into this digital dating world and actually win. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. If you're new here, welcome. And this is Love Psychology Secrets, the channel where we go deeper than the surface stuff, beyond the cliches, beyond the just be yourself advice that never actually works, and into the real psychology behind attraction, love, and connection. If that's the kind of content that resonates with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now and give this video a like. It genuinely helps more people find this channel, and honestly, the more people we can help think about love more clearly, the better. All right, let's get into it. Here's the thing most people get completely wrong about dating apps. They treat them like a vending machine. You put something in, you expect something to come out. You swipe, you match, you wait. And when the snap doesn't drop, you blame the machine. You say the app is broken. You say there's no good people on here. You say this stuff doesn't work for me. And then you either download a different app and do the exact same thing, or you give up entirely and tell yourself that meeting people organically is better anyway. But here's a distinction that almost nobody is making. Dating apps are not a dating service. They are a discovery tool. There's a massive difference. A dating service delivers you a partner. A discovery tool gives you access. Access to people you never would have met otherwise. What you do with that access is entirely up to you, and most people are absolutely wasting it. Think about it like LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't get you a job. It gets you in the room. It gives you visibility and access to decision makers. But if your profile is a mess, if you never follow up, if you send generic copy-paste messages to every recruiter, you're going to get nothing out of it. The platform works. You're just not using it right. Dating apps are exactly the same. So today, we're not talking about which app to use. We're talking about how to use the one you're already on and how to use it in a way that actually gets you what you want. All right, let's start at the beginning because most people are losing the game before it even starts. Your profile. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone come to me completely frustrated. Steven, I get 0 matches, I don't understand it, and I ask to see their profile, and it's just a list of facts. Height, job, I love hiking and good food. I'm looking for someone real. And I want to be gentle here, but I have to be honest. That is not a profile. That is a form you filled out at the doctor's office. Here's the thing. When someone lands on your profile, they're not asking, does this person meet my checklist? They're asking, do I feel something when I look at this? It's emotional, not logical. Love is emotional, and even attraction in its earliest stages is emotional. You are not trying to convince someone that you are a good person on paper. You are trying to make them feel something that pulls them towards you. So how do you do that? You tell a story, not a long story. We're talking about a few lines in your bio, but a story. Here's the difference. Generic profile says, I love the outdoors and trying new restaurants. Story profile says, I once drove 4 hours to try a taco spot someone described as life-changing. It was. I've been chasing that feeling ever since. Do you see the difference? One tells me a fact. The other shows me who you are. One is forgettable. The other makes me curious. Now here's a counterintuitive insight for you. Vulnerability in your profile is actually strength, not weakness. I was talking to someone recently, a guy, late 30s, successful by every measurable standard, and his profile was basically a highlight reel. Nice car in the background, vacation photos, flex after flex. And he wondered why the matches he got felt shallow or never led anywhere real. I told him, you're attracting people who are impressed by the surface because the surface is all you're showing. He rewrote his bio to include something real, something a little imperfect, a little human, and everything shifted. People started actually engaging because people connect to realness. They can spot a performance from a mile away. Practical takeaway here. Go look at your profile right now. Ask yourself, does this feel alive? Does it sound like a human being? Or does it sound like a job application? If it's the latter, rewrite it. Lead with something specific. Lead with something that shows how you think or what you value. Give people a reason to be curious. And please, for the love of all things good, stop ending your bio with, I'm an open book, just ask. That's not a hook. That's a door left unopened. Now let's talk about photos, because this is where most people are unconsciously communicating the wrong things without even knowing it. Here's what the research tells us and what psychology confirms. People make snap judgments about attractiveness, status, and personality within milliseconds of seeing a photo. Milliseconds, not seconds, milliseconds. That first image has one job: stop the scroll. That's it. If it doesn't stop the scroll, nothing else matters. So what stops the scroll? Genuine expression, context, and presence. Not a filter, not a ring light selfie in your bathroom, not a group photo where I have no idea which one you are. Genuine expression, meaning a real smile, not a posed grin, communicates warmth and approachability. Context tells a story without words. A photo of you at a rooftop dinner, mid-laugh with friends, tells me you have a social life. A photo of you doing something you love, hiking, cooking, playing an instrument, tells me you're someone with depth. Presence means the photo feels alive. There's energy in it. You're in the moment, not performing for the camera. And listen, I want to address both men and women here because the mistakes are a little different. For men, stop leading with a shirtless photo. I know, but hear me out. If your main goal is casual connection, fine, do what you want. But if you're genuinely looking for something real, something that could turn into a relationship, that photo is filtering out the very people you probably want. It signals a certain intent, and people respond to that signal. Also, a photo of you with a baby that isn't yours, captioning it, "not mine," in the bio is not the move you think it is. Just stop. For women, I want to gently push back on something. There's a tendency, and I understand why it exists, to post the most hyper-polished, heavily edited version of yourself. Filter to the point where when you meet someone in person, there's a visible disconnect. And that disconnect creates a trust problem before the relationship even starts. The best version of you is not a filtered version. It's an authentic version. Show up as you actually look on a good day, and you'll attract someone who's genuinely attracted to you, not a digital avatar. Here's the practical takeaway. You need 5 to 7 photos minimum. Your first photo should be a clear, well-lit, genuine shot of your face. Add photos that show different dimensions of your personality. Don't use a photo that's more than 2 years old. And please, get a friend to take your photos. Selfies are fine as supplementary shots, but your lead photo should not be taken at arm's length in bad lighting. You deserve better than that, and so does the first impression you're making. All right, let's talk about messaging, because this is where so many people fall apart. They get a match, finally, and then they open with, "Hey," or "Hey, how's your week going?" Or worse, a copy-paste compliment that's so generic the other person can feel that it went to 12 other people before them. And then they wonder why no one responds. Here's the psychology of first messages. People are unconsciously evaluating 2 things from the very first thing you sent. They're evaluating your creativity, are you interesting, and your attention, did you actually read my profile? Both of those things communicate something very important about who you are. Creativity says, this person is dynamic, they'll keep me engaged. Attention says, this person actually cares about me as an individual, not just as a warm body who swiped right. And when you send, "Hey, how's your week?" you score a 0 on both. Not because it's offensive, it's not, but because it's invisible, it's forgettable. And forgettable is the kiss of death in a world of infinite options. So what works? Specificity. Reference something in their profile that actually caught your attention and say something interesting about it. Not, "Oh, cool, you hike too," but something that shows you actually engage with it. You mentioned Yosemite. "I went there in spring a couple years ago and genuinely cried at a waterfall. I'm not ashamed." Have you done the Half Dome hike? Do you see how that works? You've shown that you read their profile. You've shared something real about yourself. You've asked an open question that invites them in. That's a message someone wants to respond to. Now, here's a counterintuitive point that I really want you to sit with. Stop treating messaging like a job interview and start treating it like play. The best conversations, the ones that actually lead somewhere, have a lightness to them. There's wit, there's teasing, there's genuine curiosity, not interrogation. What do you do for fun? Asked as the 3rd question in a row is interrogation. It feels like a checklist. But if you're genuinely riffing, going back and forth, being playful, that creates energy. And energy is what leads to, okay, I actually want to meet this person. I want to say something about the chase dynamic here too, because it shows up on both sides. For men, stop double texting after 1 day. If she hasn't responded, 1 follow-up is fine. More than that starts to feel like pressure, and pressure creates distance. For women, if you're genuinely interested, it's completely okay to initiate. In fact, a lot of men find it incredibly attractive when a woman reaches out first. It signals confidence. It signals that she knows what she wants. Don't let old school dating rules stop you from pursuing something you're actually interested in. Practical takeaway. Before you send that first message, ask yourself 3 questions. 1, did I reference something specific from their profile? 2, did I share something real about myself in the process? 3, Did I end with an open question that invites a real response? If you can answer yes to all three, send it. If you can't, rewrite it. Here's something nobody talks about enough: the danger of staying on the app too long. I know that sounds backwards. Don't you want to get to know someone before you meet them? Yes. But there's a window. And when you miss it, the conversation dies. Or worse, you build this entire relationship in your head based on text and perfectly curated messages, and then you meet in person and the energy just isn't there. And it's not because they're a bad person. It's because you fell for a projection, not a person. Think about it like this. The app is the lobby of a building. You're supposed to pass through the lobby on your way to the actual rooms. But some people just live in the lobby. They're comfortable there. It's low risk. You can control what you say. You can take your time. There's no awkward silence, no bad first impression. But the lobby is not the relationship. The lobby is just the lobby. Research on online dating consistently shows that the longer you wait to meet someone in person, the more idealized they become in your mind and the higher the chance of disappointment when reality doesn't match the fantasy you built. So stop waiting for the perfect moment to ask them out. There's no perfect moment. Ask after 3 to 5 substantive exchanges when the conversation is flowing well and there's clear mutual interest. Keep the bar low. Don't suggest a grand dinner date for a first meeting. Coffee, a walk, a quick drink, something that feels easy, low pressure, and open-ended. And for the people who are afraid of rejection at this stage, I get it. I genuinely do. But here's how I want you to reframe this. A rejection at the "do you want to grab coffee" stage is not rejection of you. It's information. It tells you that the energy wasn't mutual, and it frees you to redirect your energy to someone who is actually available and interested. Getting a no is not failure. Spending 6 weeks texting someone who was never going to meet you, that's the real waste of time. Here's the practical move. When you feel the conversation has good momentum, say something like, "This is actually a really good conversation. We should take this off here. Want to grab coffee sometime?" Clean, direct, casual. No big production, no pressure. And if they say yes, make a plan within 48 hours. Don't leave it floating as a vague "yeah, sometime." Actually lock in a day and a place. People respect decisiveness. It signals that you mean what you say. Now, this is the point that I think matters most, and it's the one most people are not willing to hear. Let's talk about your patterns. Because I've noticed something, and maybe you've noticed it too. A lot of people can change the app, change the city, change everything on the outside, and somehow, they end up with the exact same person in a different body. Same emotionally unavailable dynamic, same push and pull, same eventual heartbreak. And they say, "I keep attracting the wrong people," as if it's happening to them, like the universe is conspiring against them. But what if it's not happening to you? What if you're choosing it? Here's the psychology. We are drawn to what is familiar. Not what is healthy, familiar. If you grew up in an environment where love felt inconsistent, where affection had to be earned, where you had to work hard to get someone's attention, then inconsistency feels like love to you. Stability, by contrast, can feel boring, predictable. You might even sabotage it without realizing it. He's too nice. She's too available. It doesn't feel exciting. Sound familiar? I was talking to someone recently, a woman, smart, genuinely good person, who kept ending up in relationships with men who were emotionally distant. She poured herself into them, tried to crack them open, and eventually burn out. And when I asked her what it felt like in those early stages, she said, exciting, like a puzzle I needed to solve. And there it was. She was addicted to the chase, not to the person, to the feeling of pursuing something that was just out of reach. And dating apps made it worse because on an app, you're surrounded by options. Every swipe is another puzzle, another potential chase. And the people who are warm and available and present, they swipe left. Too boring. Doesn't give her that feeling. This is not a character flaw. This is psychology. But it is something you have to become aware of and actively work against. Because here's the truth. Love, real love, not the anxious, electric, will they, won't they feeling. Love is actually quite calm. It's consistent. It's safe. It doesn't spike your cortisol. The racing heart you feel in an anxious dynamic, that's not chemistry. That's stress response. And a lot of people are confusing the two. So here's the mindset shift I want you to take from this section. Start noticing what you're actually selecting for when you swipe. Are you swiping based on looks and a vague sense of this person seems exciting? Or are you actually reading profiles and asking, does this person seem like someone who is available, grounded, and capable of the kind of relationship I say I want? Because if you say you want something real and you keep selecting for excitement over substance, there's a gap between what you say you want and what you're actually choosing. Closing that gap is the work. I want to take a moment to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in dating advice content. What this process does to your mental health. Because I have seen so many genuinely good people lose their confidence, their self-worth, and their sense of self. Not because they couldn't find love, but because they stayed on these apps too long in the wrong way. Here's the reality. Dating apps are by design gamified. The swipe mechanic, the match notification, the little dopamine hit when someone likes you. It's engineered to keep you engaged. And when you tie your self-worth to those notifications, you're giving a piece of software control over how you feel about yourself. That is a dangerous place to be. A day with no matches doesn't mean you're unlovable. It means the algorithm didn't show your profile to the right people today. That's it. Full stop. Set boundaries with yourself. Time limits, a maximum number of matches to pursue at once, actual days off from the app. You are not a product on a shelf available 24 hours a day for anyone who swipes. You are a whole person with a life, and that life should not revolve around a dating app. The people who are most successful with online dating are the ones who treat it as one part of a full, rich life, not as a lifeline. And one more thing. The moment online dating starts making you feel worse about yourself more often than it makes you feel hopeful or excited, take a break. A real break. Not, I'll just check it one more time. A full break. Go back to building your life. Go back to your friendships, your hobbies, your goals. Because the most attractive version of you is the one that exists independently. The one that doesn't need a match to feel good about who they are. That energy is what actually draws people in, online and off. All right, let's bring it home. Here's what we've covered today. Dating apps are not broken, but the way most people use them is. You need a profile that tells a story, not lists facts. You need photos that show your real self, not a polished fiction. You need messages that are specific, curious, and human, not generic and forgettable. You need to move from the lobby into real life before you build a fantasy that doesn't match reality. You need to look honestly at the patterns you keep repeating and ask yourself whether what you're selecting for actually matches what you say you want. And you need to protect your mental health and your self-worth throughout the whole process, because no app is worth losing your confidence over. Here's the mindset I want you to leave with today. Dating apps are just a door. What matters is who you are when you walk through it. If you walk in unclear about what you want, low on self-awareness, and expecting the app to do the work for you, you'll get frustrating results. But if you walk in knowing yourself, presenting yourself authentically, engaging with genuine curiosity, and staying grounded no matter what, you change the game entirely. So here's my question for you. What's the one thing from today's video that made you rethink something about the way you're approaching online dating? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and those conversations, the real honest ones, that's what this community is built on. If this video gave you something to think about, please like it and share it with someone who's navigating the dating app world right now. Subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new content on love, attraction, and relationship psychology every day, and I want to see you back here. Take care of yourself, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.